smart bans away from him.
Yep, Corki going to be the next ban here as Stealthic's not going to be able to pick up that champion, and Stealthix has shown a lot of proficiency on these short-range AD carries. Of course, the Lucian, the Ezreal, and now the Corki has been what he's played so far in the OPL. And Rai's going to be the second ban here from Infernum, so just wanted to make sure they take the really powerful stuff off the Rift, and Lulu going to be the second one. So Avant not changing up too much, just going to be the Corki as that change. Of course, Poppy Rise. Of course, the Rise being banned on the blue side both times.
Yeah, which means that Avant want to be the Rise above all else. Of course, banning it also could indicate they want a first pick of their own choice here. Something above and beyond perhaps the Corki, which you have to remember was a flex pick that Avant got in their first game. Lulu's another good example of it. Lissandra as well that mid-base played. Could be what we would consider flex picks. It's actually just a mid-lane pick, but a very safe and sound first option.
It certainly is, but Gangplank going to be banned away here from Infernum. Tahm Kench actually banned here on the red side, so Avant not wanting to let that one possibly go through, but Graves has snuck his way through the draft this time around, and Seb wastes no time. Well, Jack Attack wastes no time. We don't know quite where that Graves is going. We saw it for the first time competitive play in the top lane just recently over in the LPL. Wasn't very successful, but definitely still was picked, so that's good. We'll see what Avant answer with now. A couple of real power picks possible.
I like that first draft here from Avant Garde. That's actually very well rounded.
Yeah.
I feel like it plays to Rect as well.
Also takes away a lot of the tools that Infernum were using in the last game in order to get ahead. Of course, Yuzuki really making it work on that cow, especially in the late game. And then, of course, Mid-Beast falling behind in the lane early, but it didn't matter. He was just fully utility on that Lissandra and was able to carry it through in the late game. So, really nice.
Still a pretty easy next rotation here, you would have to say, for Infernum.
Okay.
They could easily go for the Trundle Braum. I was going to say Braum's like the next step from Alistar.
Yep.
There's a disengage with like a half engage option as well. If you pop down the ultimate, displace everyone, keep them slowed. Of course, Trundle Jack Attack already did well on this champion. Complements the team because it can flex to that support role. We don't actually know where it's going to go yet until they finish their draft.
Yeah, it's true. Well, at the moment, it looks like a potential bottom lane has been locked in, as Stealthix is going to try the next short-range AD carry on his list, as the Callista is now going to be in his back pocket. A little bit of mid-game strength now for Infernum, as we'll see exactly where the Trundle's going. And Chelby, considering the Elise one more time, I don't want it. I want the Lee Sin. I want Shelby's Lee Sin. I want full ham.
Why don't you want the Elise though?
It didn't look that great in the last game. So that's the only issue.
It's not about what he looked like though. I think the Elise is well suited compared to that of the Lee Sin. If you look that he's going to be against the Graves as well. He'll have a Jack Attack Trundle potentially that'll just deny him everything and destroy him. Honestly, I think the Elise is fine. I think it plays to what Avant want to do anyway. Get a pick, consolidate the pick, and get a kill immediately, blow them up. Lee Sin's a little bit more questionable in that regard.
Well, we'll see exactly what they are going to do. Infernum now, all of the tricks are going to be changed.
Yeah, that's right, producer. He's making some gains.
Oh, God. I was wondering what he was saying. That's why I had no idea what I was talking about.
Swole Beast.
Couple of seconds
for Infernum.
Small Beast.
No, Swole.
Swole Beast.
Yeah.
That's even worse.
No, it's not.
Oh,
it's massive.
Okay, well, he is looking to play Victor this game, Rusty, as we are going to have Braum locked in. So once again, Jack Attack going to be taking the Trundle to the top lane.
Yeah, and no surprises, honestly. I think the Braum hover kind of indicated, maybe wrongly so, what they were looking to draft here from Infernum. So their options were, though varied and entirely capable, not going to happen. They pick up the Braum Callista. Rekt, remember, he is an assassin player, so hover aside, he could pick these champions quite easily.
I also like it. Still rounded damage. Of course, Ezreal does a lot of magic damage. Pretty mixed there, as Lissandra could go into the top lane and Rekt could play an AD mid laner. Although if they do go towards something AP-based, that would be a lot of magic damage for this squad, with not too much of a tank buster in that AD carry position.
It's very true. They might want something physical-based. I would even personally say maybe a Varus. Kind of works with the team comp well. But Rekt, again, is assassin player.
So he'll lock in the Zed. And they sort of considered a couple of things and then said, nope, we play in Zed, boys. And he's going to lock that one in. So I like it a lot. We'll see exactly what he's going to be able to do up against this Victor. As mid-base looking once again to play a pretty sort of utility-based laner at least beginning. Farm from range using that laser. Very, very safe. But safety probably not going to be in the jungle, as Seb did manage to pick up that Graves, which has been a huge pick so far in the OPL.
Known for being more of a farm jungler as well, Graves. Has the capabilities to gank and be aggressive when necessary. If you catch Chelby out of position, maybe you want to try and take him down. But for the most part, Infernum, they've shown they're happy getting through that early game where they've been notably weak and can just start to scale up, get those team fights where Trundle's ultimate's a big deal. Graves will have burst. Victor always scales, and their bottom lane as well can match the strength of the rest of the team. I think Avant Garde, the onus is definitely on them to get the Zed rolling, put him in a side lane and just blow up the Trundle potentially, but that's near impossible.
Yeah, it's going to be very, very difficult. Of course, Trundle, if they let him get to the stage he got to last game, there's not going to be a lot of Zed can do about it. I don't know what anybody else can do about it as well, because they got a Lissandra in that lane. There's not really much to match that split push, so it does have to be all done in that early game.
Yeah.
It's going to be pretty scary. But, ladies and gentlemen, we want to hear from you. Is it going to be a 2-0 in favor of Infernum? If you think so, use that hashtag INF win. Or, if you think Avant Garde are going to be able to take us to a Game 3, use that hashtag AV win. See exactly who is going to be able to take this one very, very soon, as we're about to hop onto the Rift for game number 2. And Infernum, they've really impressed me so far. It's been a really, really great series for these guys, of course. Not being able to find a win at all, of course, very close one against Hellions in last week's series, but now finally reaping some reward from their decent play around the Rift.
Yeah, lots of positives here for Infernum, but most importantly, lots of things that Avant Garde need to fix coming into game number 2 here. They're one game down in this set. They've gone all in a way with having that Zed pick there, and Malaz has gone towards a carry top laner, so they've changed up their team to what we thought Avant should be. And finally, Destiny's not Lucian.
Yeah, exactly, and we'll see how he goes. Already doing a lot of damage to Stealthix. Won that one well and truly, as Rekt is checking out his blades. He may need to move away, as there's a lot of things going into that brush.
Safety and spells used.
Oh, I love it. You know, they put the policeman out first. Jack Attack, biggest truncheon of all time. As once again, very deep vision comes out from both teams. Spotting any potential lane swaps.
Yeah, and they're just going to recall, hopefully at the same time this time around, as they all go back to base, and yes, they do.
Nice.
Well done, they've learned.
Yep, Seb's going to be like, oh, here we are. Be able to get into a good jungle this time around.
And this is the mind games that always ensue here from AD carry and support duos. They place their vision as deep as they possibly can to try and spot the opposition team. And they were about to have Malaz recall, but they saw Infernum's bot lane on a ward. Pinged him to back
He's
to be
done
careful.
that back so many times. Okay. I just love the be careful ping when Malaz is actually hugging his turret.
Yeah,
I don't think he needs to be that careful, guys. He will be fine. Seb, though, going to be taking the Gromp first up. Had a bit of a start there from Jack Attack, as he's going to be very healthy in this jungle. Shelby as well, going to be able to start on this blue buff as Stealthix and Yuzuki take away the Krugs here on the bottom side of the map. And we'll see how Stealthix goes, of course. I probably would have given him MVP for game number 1, playing really, really well on that Corki, and now a different experience on the Kalista. Has already put some sticks into Destiny.
Yeah, they've got the level advantage here. Stealthic's already ticking 2. The trading capabilities are just ridiculous, especially when you've got Braum with that Q at level 1. He hits a power spike, whereas Alistar wants 2 or 3, depending on what he starts. Of course, they gave Chelby a leash, so they didn't get experience themselves on the Gromp camp. Instead, they put everything towards this Elise. And it costs them a lot in the bottom lane early, but they should be fine moving forward.
Yeah, of course, Ezreal scales pretty well if he goes that blue path. So looking to see whether they can weather the storm. But we'll see what Infernum can do. Of course, if they manage to get a lead early, that's the thing that scares me about this team comp that Avant have put together. There's a lot of things in the late game that raise some question marks here for the team.
Yeah. We'll have to see how Avant continue to move around the map as well. Shelby's playing a little bit different this time around. I feel like his pressure's more notably at least attempting to be present.
True.
He's going to come in and say hello.
Yeah, there's the repel. Oh, nice juke there from mid-beast as Rekt is able to get so much damage. Double Thunderlords. How many Lords are there of Thunder at the moment, by the way? It seems like every game there's just so many of them.
Yeah, we're in 6.1 as well, so considering we're seeing a lot less Lords of Thunder, there's still a substantial amount as the Mastery, the Keystone is quite strong. Chelby and Wrecked, though, working together, not even hitting the cocoon, still chunking Midbeast out to the point where he recalled and got a cloth armor and then came back to lane. Not the ideal start here for the Infernum mid laner.
Oh, Seb, end of the line for Chelby here as he's down to 300 health already. He's able to get into that Rift Scuttler buff.
Oh. Says get out of my jungle, though.
Exactly. Get out of my town. That was my Graves impression. It was a bit lacking. We'll work on it for next time, guys.
You do you, mate.
Yeah, farming underneath his turret as Malaz able to push him in. So he's still doing great in that farm game. Of course, the range advantage can be something that Lysandra can work with, but not so much.
He's trying to freeze. Yeah, and you can see immediately Wrecked is like, hang on, I'm not okay with this. You're trying to freeze the lane. Chelby's now going to help him push it as well to stop that from happening at all. They may even pressure him from these last hits under the turret. So Seb has to hang around.
That was really cute.
Here we go again, junglers.
Yeah, Seb actually waiting here as Chelby doesn't get hit by the end of the line that just knocks into the wall. Seb playing some handball now with the Raptors.
Chelby needs the recall, though. He hasn't actually bought items. He's still focusing entirely on pressure. He's now bottom.
Oh, Sentinel comes out at a pretty decent time. 4 Sentinels, really? Oh my, yeah, they're everywhere.
Chelby's on Sentinel duty right now. He's clearing them all.
That's a bit of cash money. That's good news. But we got another tweet in here. Is it just me, or are the casters just getting hotter and hotter? What the hell?
Trick question.
We got to talk to the old producer because it's actually really cold in here.
Yeah, I was going to say air conditioning got turned down. That doesn't actually make sense. What are you talking about?
Sorry. Oh, it's ludicrous. Whoever chooses. Oh, never mind. Jack Attack eating some creeps here on the top lane as Malaz now able to get that pressure on. There's a bit of a sub-conversation going on, guys. We'll fill you in on it later.
The voice is in my ear.
Yeah. I'm not sure whether they're in my head or whether it's our producer. Probably the producer is Midbeast. With a bit of a wave stacking up, Wrecked may have an opportunity to start something here as he's got a huge CS advantage. Serrated Dirk now in the back pocket as well.
And this is the patch where Zed's ultimate, I believe, got that slight buff. Level 6 does more damage than it otherwise did.
Oh, very exciting.
So you have to keep that in mind between 6 and 11. Especially at level 9, once you get all of the stacks into your shuriken. Zed is a force to be feared.
You can see Destiny farming up okay, but Stealthix and Yuzuki with a lot of control in this lane this time around. And honestly, it was AV really owning it in the laning phase especially in the last game. As Chelby, he wants to try and find Jack Attack here. He's been very active on the map, but hasn't been able to find anything just yet. As Seb's just been free to wander around and shoot creeps. Now even deciding to do so in the mid lane. As they're going to shove this one up. Seb just says, I'll have that one.
Well, it's about trying to... They want to reset the wave, clear it out, and let Midbeast recall, you would imagine. Seeker's Avant Garde. Kind of a big deal. Might want to buy that here if you're Midbeast.
Oh, there's the death mark. Seb wants to try and find it. The exhaust immediately down, but Midbeast may die. The last tick. First blood goes down 1v1 or 1v2 for Wrecked there in the mid lane for AV.
Oh, it's not done yet. Hang on.
Yeah, Cocoon lands. Seb takes the Thunderlord, but end of the line comes out. He's going to be fine underneath his turret.
And Wrecked comes up massive. He's got his serrated Dirk, so the damage is there. He's been zoning away Midbeast. Quite a large amount. And this is the ideal start here for Avant Garde's mid laner as chunks him out with the Q and honestly just comes in, presses R, and ignites with an auto attack at the same time as the E. And that's enough. Calculator goes through the shield. Takes him down. Just in case it didn't, the shurikens would have.
Yeah, not too bad. Jack Attack putting a traffic cone in the way of the minions. That's always frustrating.
One thing to keep in mind here, though, is that Wrecked didn't hyper carry the last game. He was doing a lot of damage, and he was assassinating people, which was entirely his job.
Yeah.
But he didn't have the team to back him up, and come team fighting, Infernum were the bigger deal. And they're still getting there in every other lane except mid, who's just struggling. If they can get Midbeast going, even find time to put him in a side lane, bring Stealthix Yuzuki mid maybe at some point, then things will start to change. But until such a point, if Wreck can continue to influence the rest of this map, doesn't look good for Infernum.
Oh, Fate's Call's actually available here in the bottom lane, but Stealthic's not going to pull the trigger. Destiny.
Wow, though.
Yeah, that was a lot of damage. Pierce doing work.
Pink Ward's kind of a big deal. If you were Yuzuki and Stealthix, they will defend that with their lives, and they've just proven why. Because they can win that 2v2.
Nicely done. The thing that scares me on the side of Infernum, right, is that if Rekt keeps getting advantages here, he's so far ahead, about 30 CS now in the mid lane. But if Jack Attack can't come online fast enough, you can see he has to build Magic Resist up against Malaz. If he can split push against the Trundle, then all of those problems I was talking about go out the window.
And I was going to mention this as well, is that if you're laning against a Lissandra as Jack Attack, you're going to stack Magic Resistance. Come mid-game, Zed's going to be doing entirely physical. And if you only have MR to speak of, you're not going to be able to deal with Rekt. And you will get 1v1'd.
Yeah. Rekt not going to have too many troubles there, but see whether Infernum can safely transition this mid-game. He's going to ask some questions of the team.
Also the Uzi item build that we saw.
Oh yeah.
Going pickaxe on Ezreal straight after the tier. It's about being efficient with your gold as well. You don't have enough for a Sheen, you may as well still get some damage. And it's good for the consistent trades with auto attacks. If you're not effectively trading with the Q.
Well, you can see Infernum still ahead in this lane. Not by about 6, but it's not too bad. Destiny still stacking that tier just fine. Like you said, nothing too much happening. As Rekt is going to clear out the mid lane, now moving towards the top side. ZV pretty keen on this top outer turret.
Yeah.
Infernum, though, we got questions to ask at the bottom lane here. As there's the flash pulverized. Blind Turkey looking for more as the teleport comes in. The ultimate comes out from Yuzuki. Fate's Call comes in. They're trying to re-engage the flash forward. They manage to get it. Seb is in there. Picks up the kill. Yuzuki now as well, right in amongst it. Huge pulverize comes down as everyone from AV is on the way, but it's a double kill for Seb. Can they now disengage? And they can. As everyone from Avant says, well, we're a little bit late.
Infernum get here quicker. They make it work faster than Avant Garde can react. Chelby was near top. Rekt was still in the middle lane. And this is a big win for Infernum as Avant being the ones to engage. For it to not go the way that they want is a massive deal. Malaz comes in, but Yuzuki slows him down to the point where Lissandra can't even get the ultimate off. It has to go onto the most irrelevant member in Yuzuki. Seb comes in and just blows them up. That's the double kill. Just like that, Graves is on the board.
Yeah, and I have to say, I really loved that ultimate use from Yuzuki there in the bottom lane, making sure that Malaz couldn't just walk freely forward. Got knocked up, slowed down, and then in the end had to just do mostly disengage.
This is the worst middle lane in history right now for mid-beast. Look at the farm.
Yeah, he's not having a great time.
That's far from okay.
Oh, God. Well, at least he does have one upgrade.
Like, if he was Rammus right now, he still wouldn't say okay. Like, that's how bad this is.
I understood that. That was fantastic. The lord of the analogies that actually make sense. Rusty Pie. As Jack Attack gets caught by a cocoon. Seb's here as well, though. Chelby in trouble. He's trying to engage. The Koradoon comes in. Nice flash from Chelby. But Malaz not going to be able to get too much back as Infernum just going to turn their attention to the top laner. Oh dear, Rekt is making his way up. Spotted by the Rift Scuttler. Quick draw over the wall from Seb, and they're out of there.
Yeah, they're just running around avoiding Rekt, and he is in this middle lane, so it doesn't take long to rotate. Not the easiest thing for Infernum to do.
Mid-beast is like, nope, 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 nope.
He's back in lane. Hide behind my turret, not even next to it.
Yeah.
But Infernum, again, Graves respecting Malaz on this Lissandra, knowing that he can engage and potentially take him down. Of course, unaware that Malaz didn't have his ultimate up yet. And so they could have chased Chelby. They don't opt into it.
Yeah, decided they didn't want to use the flashes to get over those walls as well as Jack Attack held onto his. I think it makes a lot of sense with Rekt as strong as he is. Infernum really can't afford to overextend with these plays because the cleanup that could come in from this already one kill up Zed is just a really big deal.
Yeah. The fact that they're working around him, though, is really important.
It's a juggling act right now, and Infernum, they're managing to catch the balls.
I also like that Chelby got the blue buff. Zed hasn't had an impact yet.
Oh, ultimate comes in. That Unbreakable was outstanding from Yuzuki. Grabs it on the way past. And the minion wave even going to survive.
Here's Shelby.
Yeah, he's coming down, spotted by the ward.
And Zed.
Yeah, okay. That's probably not what they want. Is AV going to force a turret?
Yeah, they're going to get this turret down. Seb's immediate response. He's on the other side of the map. Mid-beast walking down would be a big mistake anyway. Just concede the turret. Let Rex have the blind pressure.
Oh,
he just cleared a pink ward exactly where he was standing, so no one's going to walk there. He might dive mid, though.
Looking for it potentially, but nice pressure from AV. In the bottom lane, able to lock down that turret. Wrecked, like you said. Yeah, thinking about that dive. The turret not doing that much damage to him as well as he goes back to farming out those creeps that he's doing so effectively. AV transition to a dragon. So nice control of this early game so far from Avant.
There it is.
Deathmark comes down. Wrecked gets exhausted underneath the turret. Deathmark not going to quite be enough damage. And that is all of the summoner spells used on both sides. We'll see whether Infernum can get anything out of this as Destiny. He's backing, not a lot of mana. Dragon is going to fall in favor of Avant.
Mid-beast played that as well as he could with what he had. And what he has is not enough to deal with Zed right now.
Oh,
Didn't drop the ultimate, though, unfortunately, to deny any kind of movements, mobility out of the Zed. Rek just gets away casually with half his health missing.
I think when you're that busy saying nope, 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 it's hard to find the R button.
I don't know about that. They're professional players, Atlas.
Hey, that's a very good point.
It's one of their 4 buttons that they have to be able to press. But Zeb's also holding the wave for him, so smart play from Infernum trying to keep the CS of Victor at least as close as they can to that of Wrecked.
Yeah, doing the best he can. But, man, 60 CS in favor of this Zed. It's very, very scary. I have to say, mid-beast, as long as they can just continue, make it to the late game as best they can, he will be all right. Oh, this pink ward finally looking to go down in favor of Avant. Have a pink of their own as well, as Yuzuki just going to people's elbow the ground before he heads home. And Stealthix now with Swifty Boots and the Blade of the Ruin King. His first relative spike. Wants to be able to find that Renan's Hurricane if he can as mid-beast. Walking through, trying to get some vision. Navy going to swiftly remove it.
And the real question now, and it's not an easy thing to do, how can Infernum utilize their shot calling of Yuzuki and get mid-beast going in some way? Or win the game by avoiding mid lane entirely?
Well, if anything can be said, mid-beast is at the point where he can actually grab some farm. But look, there's another tweet. OmniSynced has said, oh dear, please hide that mid lane gold difference. I don't want to see that. It's disgusting. Well, look, I'd say you're probably correct there, as we're going to show it to you now. So that's 2,000 gold.
Look what you've done.
I'm sorry.
Now
as soon
we
as
have
you tweet,
to see this.
You tweet a request, and that'll be swiftly ignored, and most likely going the other direction. I apologize. Well, Gravity Field going to go down. Mid-beast going to prevent any following of that shadow.
That is a 2-0 Graves that just walked into the middle lane, lost most of his health, and then quickly said, hang on, no, that's your problem now.
Yeah, you deal with that, mid-beast.
I'm just going to go back to my jungle.
So, mate.
But he's stuck. They have to deal with mid lane. And Avant can work around this, knowing where Graves is, knowing that Wrecked can easily 1v2 or rotate accordingly because he's wave clearing confidently.
Yeah, they're playing around their strengths really nicely. Jack Attack still in the top lane, about 10 CS behind Malaz, who is holding on to all of that utility for AV. But with that isolated, AV still find themselves the stronger team here on this bottom side with this potential 3v3. Oh, Destiny throws out the ultimate there as Infernum do understand that is now on cooldown. Yeah, mid-beast now trying to rotate around, understands that probably not going to be able to do much about this Zed as Chelby takes a combination, but Wrecked has blown the Ghost Blade. Jesus.
Well, I've just watched this series of events in the middle lane where mid-beast pinged that Wrecked was missing, and all he did was sit like in this exact bush and think that he was safe.
Yeah.
It is not. No one is safe.
Oh, God. Definitely not mid-beast. He's having a struggling time right now. The shield from his Q is at least able to negate some of the damage of the Shuriken. Says Max, struggling to find a positive in this lane as Jack Attack able to use his passive to get a lot of his health back now that Spirit Visage is there.
He's actually struggling, though, in this top lane as well.
Yeah, he is.
Not able to fight his way through the 1v1 trades. Malaz just able to poke from a distance. Does have a Spirit Visage, so relatively okay with sustain. And of course, like a roughly 30 back for each minion that he kills now.
Yep. Shelby coming in. Oh. Oh, no. Well, Seb actually going to take the cocoon with him as there's the claw flash use from Seb straight away to get out of the way of this Frozen Tomb.
Oh,
Rek now
done.
running so fast. Yuzuki, can he get the Unbreakable there in time? Mid-beast comes around. Rek may have overextended. One more auto attack's going to get the stun as he is going to get stunned. Seb going to pick up the kill. That's going to get rid of a whole lot of their money as Infernum, the team fight kings by the looks of things, able to turn that one around nicely. Shelby.
There's turrets there.
Yeah, cute little play to try and get out, but that turret's going to get a couple of bolts in. Flashes forward. That was the traffic cone to stop all traffic from Jack Attack. AV ignoring things in the bottom lane as they pick up a turret, but man, Jack Attack's playing the series of his life.
They're getting some kills here across the board, Infernum. This is a big deal. Infernum, again, Seb used the ultimate to try and get back. This is the Yuzuki show from start to finish in this particular fight. One auto attack off the stun. Rek goes down and even cops Yuzuki's Braum ultimate. Again, flashes, gets the passive. This is all about Braum. And then, of course, Jack Attack puts down the Gandalf staff.
Oh, yeah.
Essentially just says, you can't pass.
Well, he can't.
Nope,
Oh,
get back
man.
here. Of course, but you can't, I mean, you shall not.
Chomp, 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 chomp. Very cute. Maybe I may have exaggerated a little bit on the series of his life, but he's definitely playing well. Does have the Swifty boots now as he's building towards that Titanic Hydra. So adding in some wave clear for the Trundle is definitely a good idea.
You know what that got them, Atlas?
What did it get him?
Nothing.
Yeah, problematic. It lost him a turret.
It lost them objectives and global gold for the entire team of Avant Garde.
Yeah, well.
The gold lead has closed a bit, though.
True. 4-1 in the kills. Is Yuzuki actually going to Unbreakable that cocoon? Disengage from Infernum. We did have a tweet from Carrot Colossus saying Yuzuki, a contender for the all-star support. And he's a sub, guys. That's what you got to remember. Yuzuki really putting the team on his back while he's here just for a moment.
That's the #1, ladies and gents. Yuzuki is with a U. It's Yuzuki.
Yuzuki.
It's your boy.
Yeah, boy, Yuzuki. Well, Malaz just going to claw his way into the top lane. I say that, it makes it sound like he's sort of clawing his way back or something like that. He's ahead by 20 CS, definitely doing well. As AV going to pick up their second dragon of the game, denying Infernum there first, which is probably the biggest deal about that one.
And another dragon.
Wow. Oh, mid-beast saying, oh man, some side lane farm. Oh yeah. Picks that one up, 153 to 215. It's pretty awful as Seb finds his way towards the top lane. Chlorodoom.
Gotta love the counter synergy between Graves and Trundle, though. You put down the pillar, the Q actually stops when it hits it.
No.
Didn't do any damage to Malaz there.
And also, he couldn't use the Q to prevent any potential ease. Oh wait, no, it doesn't work because you just flash through it. Never mind. That ain't happening either, but they are looking for some damage on this top outer turret. Infernum want to be able to grab some of this standing gold. Yes, he's taking a lot of damage.
He does have the Maw, so I don't think immediate burst would take him down. He actually potentially could have baited there. Not enough vision to really see if anyone else is nearby, so they have to back up. Now they're just trying to pressure top lane turrets and get mid-beast whatever they can, or whatever they can afford to give him. And they're waiting on Stealthix to have his 2-item spike before they look for team fights here. Whereas Avant are in a point of power.
Yeah, almost has that Renan's Hurricane. But you're right. It's looking scary here as Wrecked. Split pushing duty. No one really wants to head down to this bottom lane to deal with this crafty ninja. It's Destiny now clearing out the mid lane. Seb hanging around. Does have a lot of damage available. Building even more MR by the looks of things, which is dangerous against the power of this Zed. With double exhaust, it is going to mean that they might be able to deal with him in a team fight situation, but as far as meeting him in a side lane, it's just really difficult.
Yeah. He's kind of the only major issue here, though, for Infernum. So if they can work around him, they'll be happy to try and pick these team fights.
That's a good point.
One thing you will note, though, is generally speaking, up until this set, or at least the last game, Infernum's late game shot calling has been a little bit interesting.
Okay, Loltise says, did Riot Atlas just commentate himself commentating? I don't think so. I don't think we've had much commentate section right now. I don't remember it, did I? Oh, when? What did I say? What have I done? What have I done? Loltise, I'm sorry. I'm not even wearing a tie. That's why he's upset. I understand. My apologies, sir.
No comment on the ties.
Yeah. It's just it's not how it's going in the OPL at the moment. But Infernum, they're trying to clear out this mid lane. Are going to do so effectively, but Avant moving all the pressure in.
They're trying to, though. This is, again, Avant, when they get slightly ahead, they're now feeling confident. They're looking to get vision around the map. And most importantly, get vision on the bottom side of the map, where Zed, Rekt, is actually having a major influence, because he's pushing them towards that inhibitor turret at all times.
Yeah.
Can immediately rotate mid where the outer stands. And honestly, Infernum need to give this up soon, or they'll get dove for it.
Well, Blind Turkey was threatening by the looks of things, and you can see 4 members strong hanging around the mid lane, are able to lock that one down. As Stealthix takes a pretty dangerous Q there from Destiny. It's Jack Attack putting on the pressure now in the top lane.
They should swap. So Melaz does need to recall, but Jack's making his life a living hell and saying you can't. That'll be the zone use you would have to assume for this Lissandra. A big deal for team fighting.
Yeah.
And then they can look to maybe even put Rekt into that top lane, start to pressure the turret there. Because again, only magic resistance built for this Trundle.
Yep, Destiny just going to use that scrying orb, but not going to be spotted heading towards the top lane. And they just want to move around, grab all of these turrets, and you can see AV have had a lot of control over that. Of course, only one falling in favor of Infernum there in the mid lane, as you remember.
There's no one near mid-beast, but he's just permanently showing respect and hiding from everything.
It's like, nope, nope, nope.
You can see it. It's the way that he's walking, right? Like,
yeah. Or permanently trying to juke a skill shot that might be coming from the brush.
If someone's here, I'll be fine.
Yeah. But Stealthix, he's managed to pick himself up the Renan's Hurricane, now going towards the QSS that he will definitely need against everyone. Not sure whether you can get rid of both a Frozen Tomb and a Death Mark, one after the other, but if they do them at exactly the same time, he'll be able to do it. Seb's got one as well. There's the Pulverize in, but Blind Turkey may have to be careful here as Jack Attack. He's hungry for some steak. There's the knock-up from Stealthix as well as Blind Turkey soaking a lot of damage with the ultimate. Teleports come in. Malaz wants to find it. The exhaust is down. Frozen Tombs himself as AV just kiting forward. Zonya's down at the same time. He's soaking a lot of aggro.
Zed's
they
on the flank
still
now.
die. Flashes out. In comes Rekt. He's exhausted as well, but Seb trying to get damage across. He gets the shutdown as Midbeast grabs the kill. It's a messy fight that Destiny may be able to clean up. There's the Blade of the Ruined King. Stealthix trying to make this one work, but he explodes. So damn dead as Jack Attack was still trying to work things out.
Oh no, Jack, here we go.
It was close, but that's going to be the ace for one. AV stomping over that fight.
And being able to get out of a team fight like this, Avant Garde, with blinking health bars on nearly every member besides Destiny and Rekt, is a sign of their team fighting prowess actually coming out trumps in this particular engage. Seb, Jack Attack, they try and go all in. Even Stealthix uses his ultimate to throw in Yuzuki, and you have to say that's a big mistake because Malaz comes in, uses the ultimate on himself and hits 4 members. Midbeast finally makes his way in, but they blow the ultimate, and now Rekt shows up. And this is where everyone starts to just explode. Jack tries his hardest in these fights to stay alive and kill people, but he's honestly just a Trundle and doesn't actually do that much. And gets kited and kited.
Kited.
And it's actually frustrating to watch how much he got kited. I could have flown him on a string.
It was quite frustrating. Of course, now he wants to build... Oh, it looks like he's going for a different item. Not actually picking up what was to be assumed to be that Iceborne Gauntlet once again. Because he's got a chain vest just chilling.
Thornmail?
Yeah, maybe. Well, that's what it looks like, right? But don't know. May have just wanted more armor. He just got what he could afford.
Don't blame him, of course. At this exact point in the game, Avant have blown the map open. They're going to put Zed against Trundle now. It's the only thing Infernum can actually afford to do, utilize the teleport as some form of advantage when it comes down to it.
Yeah, that's true. Oh, Christmas Trees has tweeted in. Of course, former mid laner for Sudden Fear that used to be in the OPL. Midbeast, too much time in the gym and not enough on the Rift. But Seb is picking up the slack. I think it's a good call. Seb has been having a decent series. It's difficult for him in the last team fight, though.
I think that was a hint of jealousy of the gains. Just quietly.
Could be. Could be.
You don't know anything. You might have a laptop at the gym.
Just treadmill. It's hard to run on a treadmill.
If you stop spinning the bicycle wheels.
Oh, that's true. You could do the cycling thing. Yeah. These rules at spin class, boys. Don't worry about it.
I've actually started up this Baron. Oh. That'll get low really quick.
Rekt is coming in for the flank. Here's the engage from Blind Turkeys. He's trying to get something done. Oh, Yuzuki with the Unbreakable. Mid-beast has to use the Zhonya's early. Rekt still trying to get the work done. Locks down Seb, but he's going to trade 1-for-1.
This is still only 1-for-1 in total here.
Oh, Jack Attack. Oh, there's the ultimate coming out of Stealthic's Blind Turkey. He'd already used the ultimate.
Good for Infernum.
Yeah, fantastic use of the pillar, but it is Destiny picking up one. Rend comes out, but doesn't get anything. Malaz slowed down. They're not dead just yet. 2 for 2, very close.
And they actually get an even trade here, Infernum, even with Rekt getting into the back line. The Zhonya's Hourglass from mid-base is enough to avoid a lot of burst, but Zed came in with that ult directly next to Seb, who had taken a lot of burst already, and picks him up pretty much immediately. Again, that was a lot of ultimates used. Yuzuki blocks everything in the front line.
That Unbreakable is so good.
But Seb inevitably goes down. And a little bit of overkill here, I'll say, from Infernum, using that Victor ultimate. Re-engage comes down. They trade supports essentially at this point as Yuzuki overstays his welcome in the pillar of traffic coneness.
Yep.
Blocks them from following any further. And it is a blue Ezreal and Lissandra, so don't overextend when you chase. Smart from Infernum.
Yeah, nice kiting power from this Avant team. Jack Attack, though, looking comfortable. Didn't actually buy anything on his way back in as Malaz is just like, all right, back to splitting against this dang Trundle again. But he's doing fine, able to pick up a heck of a lot of farm here in this lane.
I think it's safe to say they also weren't aware that Seb had a QSS. There's no reason for a Lissandra to use her ultimate on Graves when you know that the QSS is available. You hold on to that spell, save it for someone arguably more important.
Or yourself.
Or yourself.
Well, exactly right. But QSS now picked up for Rekt, and you may sort of look at this Infernum lineup and think, oh, but wait, what is he going to QSS? But the biggest deal is the double exhaust, right?
And the Braum stun.
Yeah, Rekt is really struggling, getting exhausted every single time, and it always seems to be available from one of these Infernum members. But AV, they really want to kill Baron.
They do, and Infernum, they're generally somewhat aware of this being taken, but it's going to go down pretty quickly. The thing is, Avant get quite low when they do it.
Rekt actually took a lot of damage coming out of there as well as mid-beast. Gets the speed up, looking for Malaz, but he's going to be safe here on the side. We'll see whether this pincer move is going to work. Yeah. Not going to find it.
Dead.
Yeah, Claw of Doom's come out. Has to use the flash to get away from the traffic cone.
That was a very silly claw from Malaz, forcing his own flash out.
I think he was sort of expecting for the collapse.
Well, the shot calling then was just not refined enough from Avant.
Yeah.
If he was expecting the collapse, he should be calling that he's going, or Avant should be following him up. They made a mistake. They forced a summoner. And that's also a flash gone from Shelby.
Oh, now they're going in, though. Seb's going to get caught by the cocoon. Massive damage from these shurikens. Another Unbreakable's brilliant, though. Look at the burst damage out from mid-beast as Rekt tries to get in and out again and does so successfully. Look at the health bars melting as Destiny picks up Yuzuki. Stealthic's still alive on the back line, but it may not be enough. He just walks in amongst it and is just going to fall down. Seb now with a decent chunk of AoE, but it's not enough. And that team fight just was all AV.
AV find themselves so far ahead, even with a great Unbreakable out of Yuzuki. Not enough to keep the rest of his team alive, and Rekt time and again just gets into the backline so effectively on this Zed. What a big deal for this team, and again, Malaz hits a better ultimate.
Oh,
Jack could be in trouble
as well. Yeah, Jack Attack has to use the flash. Q even lands. True Shot Barrage comes through. Oh, Jack Attack. He's tanky enough. He's got a Thorn Mail. He'll be fine. Oh, that's magic damage. He's got a Spirit Missile. She'll be fine.
He has resistances, Atlas, as we are going to see this again. Blind Turkey engages. Yuzuki blocks a lot. His ultimate hits a lot. God. And mid-beast even Zhonya's Stealthic's QSS of Zed. But Zed's still doing damage with his shadows in the middle of that fight, taking them down. They're fighting on top of a choke point against the Lissandra and an Ezreal.
And the zoom in on Stealthic's.
He kind of just walked into a bush where they were because he had no vision.
He's like, if I'm going to die, I'm going to do so excitingly in amongst all of my enemies.
Stealthic's KDA.
Yep. 2015. One in chat if you're sad, etc. Wait, what was the thing that Carvin said? Never mind. Never mind. Not very good.
You really are digging yourself a grave today.
Hey, and we're looking at Seb. He's going to be taking down a red buff for himself. Not going to deliver that over to Stealthix this time around as AB looking for their 4th dragon. They've been getting every single one of these so far. And clearing out the vision here at the same time. So, objective game well and truly in favor of AV. They took the inhibitor, of course. 8,000 gold now in the lead. Looking to go to a game 3 here, ladies and gentlemen, on our first day this week of the OPL. Very exciting stuff. This will be our 2nd, 3rd game. Direwolves and Chiefs doing it the first time. Direwolves able to take that victory. We'll see whether AV can follow up with a win after this, or whether it's going to be Infernum discovering what went wrong and fixing it.
And so far, the perfect game from Malaz is yet to die.
Yeah.
Kind of just being the facilitator for his team, 1-0 and 9. And weirdly enough, Wrecked. His scoreline doesn't reflect exactly how much he's doing. It's more so Destiny that's reaping the rewards here of the effort and emphasis that Infernum are placing on this Zed.
He's also just creating this sort of area that no one can enter for Infernum.
Well, that's the thing. They're entering that area, but they're putting 2 exhausts and 2 QSSs and a Braum ultimate onto him.
Yeah.
And he just presses his own QSS and runs away.
He's also very, very fast with this Swifty Alacrity. But we'll see exactly how this game goes. Of course, it's not over just yet, but Avant definitely in control. As it's largely been a battle of supports as well. As there's the Cocoon. Unbreakable comes in. Yuzuki going to get pulled out. Malaz looking for the re-engage, but he's going to get destroyed before he can Zhonya's. Infernum, they grab a pick. The teleport comes in from Jack Attack. And they're pinging out the mid lane. Infernum think that they might be able to get something done. Cocoon not going to go where they want it to, as Destiny has to use the Arcane Shift to get over the traffic cone.
I don't think they can get anything done here, Infernum. There's a big risk. Still 4 members alive with their ultimates available. They do have 35 seconds on Malaz, and his perfect game's out the window.
The ultimate goes through. Yuzuki's Unbreakable was decent there, but Seb is going down very low. They're able to get the inner turret. Shelby now flanking from the side. Destiny poking through. Yuzuki taking so much damage here as Wrecked. He wants to clean up the members of Infernum right now. Whose kingdom are we in now? I'm not sure, Jack Attack, because Wrecked is chasing after you real fast.
I don't know why they didn't try to fight sooner, Avant. I guess they were just a little bit concerned. They were stuck in their own jungle, so the inside track was Infernum's. They can now force the Baron. No teleport even available. Infernum is seeing it go down. It's gone.
They have to watch in terror as the Baron gets obliterated here by AV. Nice secure there by Chelby as well, but of course no one was going to steal it. And Seb says, well, I'll take my own jungle camp, as he kills a wolf. Not sure whether that's going to have as much effectiveness, as that Baron did fall very, very quickly. Avant now looking to push forward. Malaz even has that as he heads towards the top lane with a death cap.
And Seb played this game well. He is 60 CS ahead of Shelby. 2 extra kills. And honestly, this whole game has just come down to Destiny and Wrecked. Blind Turkey's been playing out of his mind as well. He's been a very solid support.
Oh yeah, it seems to be largely a battle of supports here as well, because Yuzuki's been playing brilliantly. But Blind Turkey, especially in that last team fight where they got so much work done, he had a 4-man Pulverize in there that just looked so, so good. Both of these support players, we've talked them up before. Of course, Yuzuki, of course, his debut here in the OPL, but Blind Turkey has been great. Steric's gauge completed for Stealthix. Double defense. He really doesn't want to get bursted. Is understandable.
Jack, what are you doing?
Tanking a bunch of minions is what he's doing. Wave clear from Infernum is decent, but there's the ultimate out. Wrecked is down, and he will be able to destroy Jack Attack, who does at least use the Subjugate. He's getting a bit of his health back as mid-base has found his way in, but Wrecked just goes back to his shadow. Throws down the Chaos Storm. Malaz taking a lot of damage, but AV now pushing on the bottom side as well. It's a battle on multiple fronts. Jack Attack's gone back to base. They have broken in. And AV just say, well, we'll get back up here in the top lane, and they're just getting ran around.
Yeah.
Really nice strategic play here from Avant as they take down every inhibitor, although the mid lane has respawned.
That's a slow, patient game here from Avant and desperate from Infernum.
Yeah, Yuzuki throws out the ultimate. Not entirely sure what he was trying to achieve there. True Shot Barrage straight into an Unbreakable that was already up. Once again, Destiny just back on this inhibitor, doing a lot of damage.
And
that
mid as well.
Bloodthirster build. Yeah, Rex, Ghost Blade down. Every inhibitor in Infernum, they're going to have to play tower defense for a very long time if they want to find their way back in. And Ivana so far ahead, 10,000 gold now as there's the ultimate onto mid base. Malaz trying to get in amongst it as well. He's exhausted, but that means there's not one for Rex as he's just going to get in amongst it and destroy everyone. Jack attack in the back line. Thornmail or no Thornmail, you are going down, Troll King. And Stealthix protecting the KDA on the fountain as he watches his base get dismantled. AV are taking us to a game 3.
Avant Garde, they step up massive in their second game here. They work out what they had going wrong in the first game. And a massive performance here from Rex in particular carries them through to the late game where Avant's team fighting seems to come up trumps.
Yeah, and Avant just utilizing the fact that he had such a lead to destroy structures around the map. It was fantastically well played on this Zed, and I really want to see more of that out of him. We didn't see it out of his LeBlanc in game number 1. We'll see whether it continues in game number 3.
Yeah, it was the ability to continue to pressure. The LeBlanc was like the one-and-done champion. The Zed stayed relevant and forced everything from Infernum.
Yeah, exactly. Well, we are going to throw it to our analyst desk just to break down that game and see exactly about Avant's first victory here in this series.
Thank you so much, Atlas. I'm still Spawn, joined with Sybil and Pastry Time, and that was a very clean game out of Avant. Let's just start in the mid lane. Rekt had a much better performance this time around.
Yeah, Rekt really showed up on that Zed. He had a huge CS lead, was really showing how strong he is on that champ, and he carried it through and won the game for him.
Kind of what we wanted to see from the boy, I guess. Like, we know he's a big carry player. He's very aggressive. And really fun to see him take Zed confidently into Victor, which can be tricky. And yes, he had a good LeBlanc game, but this game was even better from him. And again, sort of a greedy build there. Tiamat first is interesting, but I'm going to trust the kid. He probably knows what he's doing more than I do. And just in general, was able to actually take the greedy build and convert it into map pressure.
Yeah, he certainly was. And what that meant is that in the end, it was like a 2-turret versus like 12. They destroyed everything on the map there. And that pressure in the mid lane just didn't ever allow Infernum to get into a position to siege out anything.
Yeah, really. They just, I think AV looked, it took a while for them to know what they were going to do, but post 30 minutes, they really closed it out well, I think, yeah.
Yeah, I think in general it was driven by how well Rekt played there on the Zed, but Avant definitely looked cleaner in the fights that they did take as well. We tried to see Infernum sort of get back in there and use the same strategy, but they just couldn't quite get it going.
But let's talk about some things for Avant that still didn't look that great, because when I'm looking at the top lane, you're a Lissandra against a Trundle, and Trundle is equal in farm, arguably scaling a lot harder. Malaz seems to be struggling this series against one of the veterans of the team, Jack Attack.
Yeah, he was doing okay in the 1v1, but I think the Trundle was really showing up more until it came to the team fights, which is when... what was his name again? Sorry.
Malaz, yep.
Malaz, sorry. Malaz really showed up in team fights on that Lissandra. He really put out the damage.
Yeah, I'm going to agree and disagree. I think Malaz had some excellent moments there on Lissandra, locking people down, especially early on, had some key fights. Also had some not so great moments there as well, so the Lissandra maybe not as polished for him as the champion, but it was nice to see Rekt and Malaz take more aggressive champions, take playmakers, and then actually do stuff with them.
All right, so they had all right games, but the person I want to look at that I actually think had a fairly poor game was a jungler for Avant, Chelby. He was down 30 CS, he was down a couple of kills, kept walking into the jungle of Seb and nearly getting himself killed time and time again. What did you think of Chelby's performance? Because we're like, just go bottom and dive the bottom lane. It's a 2v3 at all points at this stage.
Yeah. Chelby could have... There was a lot of opportunities for Chelby to just tower dive. They had Alistair, they had Zed. They could have just roamed together, dived a lot of the towers, got a lot of kills, but he didn't really put out the pressure he needed to.
I feel like in general, old habits die really hard for Chelby. He loves fighting people in the jungle. We talked about him. We like his aggression, but maybe a little too much there.
Yeah, it certainly was a lot of aggression, but one thing I will compliment Avant on, last game we gave the team fighting at least late game over to Infernum. This time around, Avant really did show up. I think we have a replay of one of their last team fights that was around the Baron. Actually, we don't have the replay, but they were able to get like 4-man Lissandra ultimates in there. Malaz in that stage was very good. Blind Turkey and Alistair had a pretty clutch game as well.
Alistair's had 2 really good games in a row, so maybe he looks for be a contentious support here. I think we've seen Destiny play much better on the Ezreal, which is also nice. And just in general, once they got there, and it was a bit messy perhaps, Avant looked very clean towards
Yeah, they certainly did. They looked clean. They picked up the Game 2 win. So we're going to Game 3. Don't go anywhere, because in 3 minutes, Game 3 between Avant and Infernum will be on your screen.